we're here to protect you and the ones that you love. It's a good feeling to know that our efforts aren't going unnoticed.
It actually brought tears to my eyes to know that we have this support.
You're welcome. I must just say you're welcome. It's stressful, but we're not going anywhere.
Everybody, to another session of Bucknell Football Through the Decades. This is Todd Newcomb here at Bucknell, and joined today by three players from the decade 2010 and on, and of course head coach Dave Cicchini. I want to thank our friends at Geisinger for sponsoring this, and we're anxious to get this session going. We've got two guys that are currently in the NFL and one more that we hope will be there soon, and I'm going to introduce them, and then I'll turn it over to Coach, and we'll have a great conversation. So our guest today, first of all, from the class of 2017, is Julian Davenport. Julian was a team captain in 2015 and 2016. He was All-Patriot League second team in 2013 and All-Patriot League first team in 2014, 2015, and 2016. He was a Division I FCS All-American first team selection in 2016. He was a Stats second team All-American in 2015 and a Stats first team All-American in 2016. As well, Julian was an American Football Coaches Association All-American First Team Selection in 2016. He won the Stuart M. Smith Award as Newcomer of the Year in the Bucknell Football Program in 2013. He won the John Campana Award as the team's top offensive lineman in 2015, and he won the Tom Gadd Coaches Award in 2016. Julian was taken in the fourth round of the 2017 NFL Draft by the Houston Texans, and I'm sure when his time comes, you have to be out of school for 10 years, but when his time comes, he'll be a member of the Bucknell Athletics Hall of Fame. Our second guest is Abdullah Anderson from the class of 2018. He was a team captain in 2017, All-Patriot League second team player in 2014, and much like Julian, he was All-Patriot League first team in 2015, 2016, and 2017. He was a Patriot League Defensive Player of the Year in 2017. He was a Division I FCS All-American second team selection in 2017, a Stats third team All-American in 2017, a Phil Steele third team All-American in 2017, and he too won the Stuart M. Smith Award as the program's Newcomer of the Year in 2014. He won the Tom Gadd Coaches Award in 2015, and he won the George Rio Award as a team's top defensive lineman in both 2016 and 2017. He signed a free agent contract with the NFL Chicago Bears following graduation. And our final guest is our most recent Bucknell graduate, Alex Peachin from the class of 2020. Alex was a team captain in 2018 and 2019, and simply put, one of the most decorated players all time in Bucknell football history. So you're going to have to bear with me as I go through his resume. It could take this whole phone call. He was an All-Patriot League first team selection all 4 years. That being 2015, 2017, 2018, and 2019. He became the fourth player in Patriot League history to earn first-team honors all 4 years of his career. He graduated as a 15-time All-American. He was recognized by Stats 3 times, the AP, AFCA, Athlon Sports, Phil Steele, and Hero Sports twice each, and by the Walter Camp Foundation and Football Championship Subdivision Athletics Directors Association once each. Peachin put an exclamation mark on his career in 2019, shattering his own school record in punting average by 2.5 yards. His 47.3-yard punting average led the FCS by 1.3 yards. He broke the Patriot League record by 1.3 yards and slots him seventh in FCS history. In addition, it raised his career average to 44.5 yards, a figure good for fifth in the FCS annals. He was a Patriot League Scholar Athlete in 2017, 2018, and 2019, the first player in league history to win the award 3 years in a row. He won the Stuart Smith Award as Newcomer of the Year to the program in 2015. He was a Team Special Teams Award winner in 2017, 2018, and 2019, and he won the Gridiron Club Award as the Team Most Valuable Player in 2019. He was the inaugural FCS Punter of the Year award winner this past fall, and he was a 2019 Stats FCS Doris Robinson Award winner as the FCS Top Scholar Athlete. He capped his Bucknell experience by winning the athletic department's Alvin F. Jackson Jr. Memorial Scholar Athlete Award as Bucknell's top scholar athlete. So, Coach, between the three of these guys, we've got a whole slew of accolades. and should be a conversation. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah, this is without question football royalty, Bucknell football royalty. I don't know if I've ever been in a group of men that all share as many All-American awards as the three of you guys. So really appreciate you guys joining us here. It's a pleasure and an honor to be in on this call. And let's get things started here. I mean, we've already wasted so much time announcing rewards for the last 10 minutes. Let's get to the questions. So I'll ask a series of questions here, and we'll just kind of go through different order who can answer them. Peach, we're going to start with you, and then we'll go down to Julian and then Abdullah. And the first question I'm going to ask you guys is take us back to the beginning and tell us how your recruitment to play for Bucknell unfolded.
All right. So for me, it was a lot different than, I guess, normal guys. So coming out of high school, I was playing like 3 sports. And in football, I was playing quarterback, just kicking and punting like on the side just because no one else could really do it on my team, and I was like okay at it. So coming out of high school, I was going to camps, going to college camps, like those one-day things you'd see people going to. Bucknell hosts a series of them, I know, in the summers. And I happened to go to one of them. And in the morning, I was actually doing quarterback stuff. And then in the afternoon, I went out onto the grass field outside Chrissy Matheson and started punting. And so Coach Susan, who was a coach at the time, happened to just like walk out, and I hit like a couple good balls in a row punting wise. And then I think he like walked back in and I shanked like 3. But he didn't see those, so thank God. But so after that, that kind of initiated the talking between us. So then, so Bucknell was actually my only offer, and turned out to be a spectacular home for me for the next 5 years. So definitely a little bit different, but it was a great time for me.
Great. I've heard that story before, by the way.
Yeah.
It's always good to hear it. So thank you. Let's go to Julian next.
Yeah, just like Pete said, mine's isn't all cookie cutter either. Mine's was I would say Bucknell wasn't my only offer. I had some interest in basketball and football. I was a 2-sport athlete, but I would say I had a kind of little bit bigger interest in football. And then I ended up committing to Old Dominion verbally my sophomore or junior year, going the middle between the two. From the verbal commitment, I started to lose schools, even though I still wanted to be recruited. I didn't know too much about it. I pretty much handled most of the recruiting process on my own. And then I eventually decommitted from Old Dominion, put myself back into the recruiting process. And when it came down to it, I had my last 2 schools I had were Fordham and Bucknell. I took a visit to both and felt like Bucknell was the place for me. And, as you saw, I still had a dream, playing professionally, and still got to achieve that goal at a, great school.
Outstanding. Abdullah, how about you?
Well, it sounds like we all have like the same amount of stories. I didn't play football actually in high school until my senior year, so I didn't get any offers for basketball or any other sports until probably that spring semester of my high school year. Coach Susan came to a basketball game, saw me play basketball, came to a couple football games, and I remember coming up on my visit, and actually Julian was my host, and I saw what kind of player he was and what kind of guy he was. I knew that he was going to be a baller, and I wanted to play with ballers. And Bucknell was my only offer. And once I visited and realized that he was there and other players were there that was there to play to win, I said okay and signed up.
Okay. All right. So what made you decide to start playing football going into your senior year?
It was kind of like a whim. My high school coach was begging me ever since I was in freshman year coming in. And I just said, nah, I just kept on putting it off. I wanted to play basketball. And then my junior year, about to go into my senior year, it was basically summertime right before they do camp. And I kind of just had a itch on my back. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and try playing. I played when I was like real little. So I said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and pick it up and try. My goal was to get a full scholarship. And I went out there, played my heart out. And coaches saw that. And then I got the opportunity to further my career in college.
Yeah, absolutely. Outstanding. All right. Let's go to Julian for this next question. And Julian, if you can talk about your most memorable experience as a part of the Bucknell football program.
Ooh, are we talking about like on field or off field?
It could, whichever. You could be on the field, a particular game, or something off.
I mean, I got a real funny experience that I'll never forget. It actually happened when I dislocated my pinky versus Holy Cross. And I was talking trash to a player after a play or something, and I pointed at him, and I saw my pinky was faced to the left. So I looked at it, I was like, oh, snap, we got to get this fixed. So I was holding my hand up to Cap, who was our trainer at the time, like, yo, Cap, like, just come pop my finger back in place as I was walking to the sideline. And everybody's yelling at me, like, get down on the ground if you're hurt, blah, blah, blah. So I'm sitting there like, what? Then I realized that they said, stop mid-stride, put my hands in the air, and just fell backwards on the ground. Coaches on the other side were all mad. It's like, he can't do that, blah, blah, blah. As soon as the ref blew the whistle, I got up, walked right to the sideline, got my finger popped in, went right back on the field.
Nice. That is a great story. Outstanding. Abdullah, how about you? What's your most memorable experience?
Most memorable experience has to be that Lafayette game that Colin Johnoff made that pick six to win the game. That was probably my most memorable time because if you watch the film, I'm running right behind him, and all of a sudden you just see Colin just put the burners on and leave me to dust. But I was trying to run in the end zone with him. That had to be my most memorable time there. It's either between that or the Birdman kick, the final kick from Birdman when he made
Sacred
that.
Heart.
Yeah, it's between them two.
Yeah.
Nah, that Lafayette game was golden. That was actually the only game I was able to make it to since I graduated. And seeing that, and that was OT, right?
Yeah, it was overtime.
Yeah, that was big.
Yeah, I've seen that on film. It's an amazing game and an amazing conclusion to a great game. Unbelievable. So, Peach, how about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that field goal by Burdick. I have a few that are up there, but that's probably number one. I mean, I just think like the excitement in that moment was nuts. So I remember like running off the sideline, and then it's funny like going back and watching the video too. You can see Bird like running to his dad, who's like waiting in the end zone for him with like a big hug, which is funny. But I was like on the bottom of the dog pile too, and I'm obviously not that big, so I remember like getting up and like I was like in pain too at the bottom of the pile because like my helmet like twisted, so I was basically like looking out the hole, and like everyone keeps jumping on, and I'm like, oh, this is terrible, but yeah, I got it out and I was all right. So
when you got a 300-pound man, I've jumped on top too. When you got a 300-pound man on top of you, and plus a whole bunch of other teams, I know you was hurting after that.
Yeah, I'm not used to that. So
Great. I thought you were going to say something like when we finally called a fake punt for you against Colgate.
Yeah, well, that's probably up there too, though. Honestly,
all those years.
If it was a touchdown, that'd probably be number one. But
yes,
it's only a first down, and I got tripped. I don't know. So,
same here, Peach. I had tackle screens, but we ain't score, so we don't remember them.
All right, let's go with Abdul. You get to start us off on the next round. Which of your Bucknell teammates did you respect the most during your playing days with the Orange and Blue, and why?
Probably has to go back to my freshman year, Evan Byers. That dude was a complete all-around stud. His work ethic was impeccable. The way he played on the field, every single down, every single play, it kind of sparked the fire in my eyes to when I had to eventually play every single play, every single down. I remember my sophomore, junior, and senior year, I didn't come off the field at all, and I didn't want to come off the field. And now that came from watching guys like Evan Byers, watching guys like Julian go out there and give their whole body, give their whole everything to the game. But Evan Byers, he was probably the most underrated. Well, he wasn't even underrated, but most underrated player in school history because he was a beast.
All right, Julian, do you agree?
We might have lost him.
I may have lost Julian there. How about let's go to Peach then, before we get Julian back. Peach, who is the player, the teammate that you respected the most during your playing days?
Yeah. So I never met Evan Byers, but for me, I'd probably go with Mark Piles. Aside from these two guys that are already on the call too. I remember. So Abdullah, I don't know if you remember this. You were like the first person I met at school when I
Yeah.
came up for summer. Yeah, that was like a big wake up call too, because I'm not used to like big people like that in high school. And I knock on the mod door, and then he's like just sitting there. I was like, holy crap! I was like, thank God I'm not playing quarterback anymore. But yeah. So going back to that, it was probably I would go with Mark, just because like I honestly never saw that kid do anything wrong. I mean, just like complete trust in him, like every single play, knowing he's going to do the right thing and knowing he's going to have your back the whole time. I mean, that's all you can ask for, really.
Good. Okay, and Julian, how about you?
My answer would be the same as Abdullah's. Ev was my guy. We came in there when I came into the school. We almost clicked immediately. And I already had the work ethic, but he took my work ethic to a whole nother level. It took me right under his wing. We is nonstop working, as Abdullah said. After practice, we make sure we got our meals in, and we go into the weight room. And it's 8, 9 o'clock at night. We still doing, what we got to do to, make ourselves better football players and try. And, not only, was he, just good at his work ethic, he tried to bring as many guys along as he could. I could just name a few names who would start to, if it started off, he'd do that by himself. Then I started to join him. And then next thing you know, Demetrius Youngblood, who was a good defensive lineman on our team, would start to join. And then next thing you know, we had about 6 or 7 guys and just kept growing who just, wanted to put in the work and do the little extra stuff to, take you over the top. So I would say definitely Evan was the guy for me.
That was the one who really set the standard, because I watched you guys. I was like, oh, these dudes really working. They going in. We lifting 6 a.m. in the morning, going to practice, and we lift in the afternoon. And then I took that and showed it to my young guys when I was the head honcho. And I was like, look, if y'all want to – I've seen greatness. I've seen greatness in Julian and Evan. I was like, if y'all want to be great, y'all got to put in extra work. You got to make sure you eat, go in there, lift again, try to get big, try to get faster. That's the only way to do it. That's why I appreciate everybody that was in front of me to kind of set that standard, and then I can try to set that standard for everyone below me.
Yeah, outstanding. Sounds like Evan was a great leader.
Yeah.
All right, Pete, you're back up at the top here. Looking back on your experience at Bucknell, is there anything that you would have done differently, either with football or academically, just anything? Just over your overall Bucknell experience, what would you do differently?
That's a really hard question. There's a lot of things I wish. I kind of think about it, and I'm like, I wonder what would happen if I didn't do that, or if I did this. You know what I mean? If I chose a different major, I know I love my major, and it was great for me. Would have had a lot more time to focus on football too. Mm-hmm. So that was a little bit hard. I mean, I definitely wouldn't change that though. I think it just made me better in terms of work ethic. Another thing, obviously, is when I got injured. So that was kind of a blessing in disguise too. So I don't know if I would change that per se, I guess. But that was one of the hardest things for me, because I never really missed any time. So going through that and just not being able to do anything was torture for me, pretty much. So, I mean, I don't really know, honestly. I think I probably would have tried to become a better leader earlier, I think. Something like that. So try to pick up more of kind of what Abdullah and Julian was saying earlier in my career. Try to step out of that shell as a specialist kind of guy, which I know that I finally could when I was older, but I didn't really realize that younger wise. I was like, there's no way anyone's gonna listen to me. So that's just not gonna happen. But
right.
I would say probably that. Just being able to change people and change it for the better.
All right, Julian, how about you?
Yeah, it's a pretty tough question, but if there's anything I'd say I changed, I mean, I don't know if it's more changed, but just hoped I could have did a better job to at least get one championship out of my 4 years at the school, because we had more than enough talent to easily do it out of all 4 years of my collegiate career. We easily could have done it, especially even the last 2 years of my career, which the record probably shows a different story. But, every game we were in, and we could have easily won and could have easily been champs. I just wish I could have did something to make us get over that hump and get that championship.
Right. Abdullah, how about you?
Julian took the words right out of my mouth. It was definitely. I remember coming in my freshman year and seeing the talent we had, and I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be easy." Going in here and winning that championship. But outside of football, one thing that I think I could have changed was Bucknell offers so many opportunities to be involved in different groups, different stuff, and I think I wish I would have taken more time to see what Bucknell offered and join more groups, join more stuff outside of football, and do stuff like that.
Interesting. Okay, good. All right, so let's move on to the next question. And Julian, I think you're up first for this one. We got 2 of you guys in the NFL, and hopefully soon we're going to have a third. So 3 outstanding players. At what point in your careers did you realize that you had the potential to make it at that level?
I mean, this may sound a little cocky, but I would say me coming in, that was always the goal. That was always the dream. And then coming in, especially, step on college campus, I'm ready to make a name for myself. So I'm going to just start off with a little story. My second day of camp. So let's go back to the first day. First day of football camp, my freshman year. We're out there, helmets only. We get to pass rush drills. And Sean Sellers, who was the top pass rush guy on the edge we had at the time, who before I got there, apparently not many O-linemen could really block him, whatever. They was like, oh yeah, he's the truth, blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right, we'll see. I go out to block him. He hits me with an inside move. I don't even touch him. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have to, step up my game. Second day of practice comes, we in pads. They call, I don't remember the play. I think it was a screen or something, but I had Sellers lined up against me, and I was like, all right, this is the time. Come out there. He's hitting me with every move in the book. I locked down everything. Wasn't even supposed to be blocking you on that play. I found out afterwards. So I am me, but coach, wow, like, good job, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, all right, like, still, grinding, doing my thing. We go to lunch. I get my food, sit down at a table, and like fellow members of the freshman class is like looking at me like, Julian, why are you here? And I was just like, what are y'all talking about? Like, I mean, y'all want me a part of the team or something? Like, it's just like, bro, like, you should not be playing here. You should be playing somewhere bigger, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just like, man, I mean, I'm here now, so let's get to work. Let's grind. And from then on, like, I was just like, man, I'm going to the league. Like, I don't care. Like, I had people who doubted me still, even my freshman year. Like, oh, from Bucknell, I don't know. All right, watch me. And I made it happen.
That's great. That's great. Abdullah, how about you?
It probably was when Julian kind of got that exposure. Like he said, he always knew he was going to go to the league, and I always knew he was going to go to the league. For me, when I came into Bucknell, I was more focused on academics. I thought that was going to be my route. But once I saw, like, I remember my junior year, I had 10 sacks, and I made football my all-out plan. I was like, okay, I can do this. And I saw Julian got drafted, and I was like, okay, so he's a beast. I work just as hard as him. I can make this happen. And then once the NFL scouts start coming and measuring me and all this stuff, and I just told myself, I said, look, this is an option for me, and I'm gonna go full out and go out and try to make this happen. And then it kind of just came to fruition. But I definitely, once Julian made that draft and we had the draft party at his house, and I was like, I want to have this same feeling. I want to be in NFL. I want to make the same journey he did.
Great. Outstanding. And Peach, how about you?
So I'm definitely more in like Abdul's boat than Julian's boat. I mean, if you were to tell me that I had a shot coming out of high school, I would have told you you're crazy. Like, there's literally no shot. Like, I was like, okay, yeah, right. And I kind of started a good feeling, I guess. I didn't know exactly like how good, but I remember like freshman year, there were some older guys on the team, and like first couple of days of punting, I would just hit like a couple of them, and they were like guys like Jimmy King, Clay Ewell, Jags. They were always like kind of hyping me up there, and I was like, okay, man, like it's just like a good punt, like it's no big deal. But it kind of said like gave me that confidence, like no, like that's pretty good, dude. Like you got a shot to do something good with that, and then I was like, oh, maybe I can like get like all league or something like that. I had no idea. And then kind of like I would probably say like when Ab was a senior, I would say, because then he started to kind of like get people and scouts to come in and like watch. And then I would like notice that they would also kind of like watch the punts when he wasn't really doing anything or something like that. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's pretty good. And then I would say from then on is kind of when that thought kind of started getting in my head. But last couple of years of school, that was like all I was thinking about pretty much. So it was good.
All right. Outstanding. All right. So Abdul, you're going to be up first for this next question, but just if you could briefly take us through the training, the workouts, the process that followed after your senior season as you were preparing for the draft or getting ready for free agency.
So after school, I went down to Tampa actually, and the training was nonstop. It's crazy because you from when you're done college all the way up until when you go to camp, it feels like 10 years has gone by with how much work you have to put in, with how much traveling you do. But basically, I went down to Tampa. We went to this facility it was like a whole bunch of other facilities was hitting me up trying to get me to go places, but I decided on this place in Tampa. And you meet up with a whole bunch of other guys. For me, a lot of other underrated players from schools like James Madison, a lot of other FCS schools, Villanova. We kind of linked up and we said, look, like, we're the underdogs here. We right at that time they were saying like, oh, you might get drafted in the late rounds, you might go underdrafted. So my mindset was I'm gonna do as much as possible to change the minds of the scouts, and the fellow players that was there said the same thing. So it was just weeks of lifting, running, training, getting your body to the peak that it can get to, eating right, eating foods that I wouldn't even think I would eat ever in my whole entire life, but making sure my body felt the best it can ever feel ever. And it was hard. It was long days, waking up at 5 a.m., doing yoga, doing weightlifting training, working on your 40s. I can't tell you how much I don't want to do a 40-yard dash or an L drill or any of those things ever again. Because most of the time you're doing non-football stuff. You're working on your takeoffs for the 40-yard dash. You're working on pivoting for the L drill. So most of the stuff I'm like, this has nothing to do with football, but it was required, and it needed to show the scouts how disciplined you were to become the best at this. That way, when you are in the league, they know that you're going to put the same amount of discipline to be the best player. So it was hard, but I would never take it back, because even if I didn't get that goal of getting drafted, it created a mindset in me to never give up and never basically take anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, great life lessons. Outstanding. Julian, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I was fortunate enough to put myself in a position to where I was able to go away and train during half of my spring semester my senior year. So soon as the fall semester ended, December probably 18th, I was right into training. I was in Atlanta getting right to work. Came back up north for Christmas only, and then was down in Atlanta for the rest of the time until March. I came back to school to finish up what I had, I think, 2 or 3 classes left, one being an independent study to where I didn't really need to be in a classroom. So I was fortunate enough to have that deal so that I could, go away and train as much as I wanted to. So basically from December all the way until after the combine, it was 6 days a week, nonstop training, like Abdullah said, all types of running, all types of 40 stuff, which, I didn't really care for, but I was also getting my position work in almost every day with the O-line coach that I was working with down in Atlanta. And, they had took care of my meals as well. So also, like Abdullah said, eating things you never thought you'd eat, getting these healthy meals in that don't really appeal your taste buds, but it's good for you and you have to do it. So it's really showing that discipline and that, focus to get the goal that you got to be and, to work where you got to be at to make sure you can do everything you can to improve your resume and show the skills off that you have in order to make it to the next level.
Absolutely. There are no shortcuts. There really aren't.
Not
Beach,
at all.
how about you?
Yeah, so I actually did not go away for an extended period of time, like Julian and I just said. I did go away a couple times to like Arizona to meet up with a punting coach. But that was only for like a couple days at a time. So most of the time I was actually back up at school training with Coach Colbus, and he had like a whole like pro day prep sort of thing, and he got me going with that, which was awesome. The good thing is I kind of realized as a punter they don't really care as much if you run a good 40 or not, so there's a lot less pressure on that.
You did though. You ran, right? You had the fastest specialist 40 time, right, at the combine?
Yeah. So I was happy about that. But in the grand scheme of things, it's like if you run 4.6 or 4.9, they don't really care. So, if it comes to you chasing down somebody on a punt, like I think they got bigger problems. So, so for me, it was a lot of just training at school. But that was like almost every day with him, a couple hours probably. We would always like do yoga after or before. Even on off days, I would try to find yoga sessions like at school that was offered by the people there. Just like doing extra stuff too. I would always ask him like, oh, what else can I do? He's given me so many things that could possibly help me like get stronger, get quicker. Like, oh, we could add this in. We can do this instead of this. So it was awesome to have him. Basically, like it was just me and him. So we came pretty close through that, and he helped me so much. But like they said too, a lot of eating right, a lot of food. When you actually like lift that much, you got to eat. I don't have to maintain as much weight, so it's a little easier for me. But same sort of idea though. So a lot of work though. But it was good. It was the first time I could really like focus on football for 5 years really. So I only had like a couple hours of class a week, which is not typical for me. So I was really happy about that though, because being able to finally focus on football and focus on what I'd love to do every single day is just unbelievable.
Yeah. Coach Colbus does a great job. He is passionate and he's passionate about just more than lifting, but the nutritional aspect, the sleep aspect, the hydration aspect, all those things, and he's done a great job. All right, let's move on. So next questions are for Julian and Abdullah. So if you guys could give us just a quick update on your NFL careers, and then just kind of update us on just what you guys have heard in terms of how the NFL season might look here coming up, hopefully in the fall. And go ahead, Julian, you can start first.
In terms of the football season, they plan on starting everything on time, starting camp on time. In terms of the fan stuff, I really don't know too much. Y'all probably know just as much as me. I know all through social media or, hearsay. But this is going into my 4th year in the league. I was traded at the start of the season last year to the Miami Dolphins. And now I've play for the Dolphins and hoping, secure my spot on the team throughout training camp and come out this year and, have a good year for me. I've been working my behind off this off season, even throughout the quarantine. I would say I ain't really take any breaks and I haven't been stopping. So I'm just, looking forward to having a season in general.
Okay. How about you, Abdullah?
Same thing Joey said. Tentatively, they told us that the season's going to start on time. But, you never know what's going on in the world. But I've been doing the same thing. I haven't stopped since the end of the season, training, working. This is going into my third year. First year, I was on practice squad. Second year, I made the 53-man roster. Got in some games. Actually got my first sack of my NFL career last year. And now it's all about building on that, making sure that I do the same thing Julian just said, solidify my value to the Bears and make sure that I go out there, earn a spot, and just get better every year.
Great. And how about you, Alex? I know, you're in like kind of a different animal as specialists going through the pathway to make it to the NFL, and obviously not many specialists get drafted, but can you kind of walk us through an update of where you're at just throughout the free agency process?
Yeah, so for me, it's a lot of waiting, honestly, which is kind of frustrating. But for guys that are trying to get into camp and basically prove themselves, I think it's you're on like a limbo kind of thing right now. So I'm just waiting for people to say okay, these teams are having workouts these days finally. But the reality is me and my agent are talking, and he's like, I don't know when they're going to be able to have a workout for you, or even how they're going to do it when the time comes. So it's a lot of just waiting, and it's kind of frustrating, but you just got to make sure that you're actually ready to go when that time comes. So just doing what I can now. But in terms of the free agency, it's just a lot of kind of sitting here hoping and waiting for the time to come.
Right. And so you feel then that it's been that process itself has been significantly slowed down because of the coronavirus?
Yeah,
Nah,
definitely.
for sure.
Yeah. So I remember I had a workout basically after our school got shut down, a spring break, I was at home. Then I had to work out with a team at my high school, which is pretty funny. But then that was the last day that the NFL had any workouts. So I think it was mid-March too, late March, something like that. So basically after that date, there was no workouts, no pro days. So I don't think any teams have still had workouts. So it's been probably 3 months or so now, which kind of stinks. During that whole time, there probably would have been rookie mini camp, any workouts, some sort of training camp. So it just basically shortens the amount of time you have to prove yourself, which is a little bit frustrating. But you got to be ready when the time comes, I guess.
That's right. Absolutely right. All right, Abdullah, what are your thoughts about the current state of the Bucknell football program and how it has grown over the course of the last couple of years?
I think the current state is at an amazing standpoint. Every time I talk to players that are on the team, they said the whole culture is in a direction that I wanted, and I know that I can speak. I can't speak for anybody else, but I know that the culture right now is something that is moving in a good direction. They're saying that they're feeling stronger, faster, and I can't wait to go until all this is over and I can actually watch some games and see everything that they're talking about come to fruition.
Yep, that's great. Julian, how about you?
I'm a little more detached from, players like us. This last graduating class is probably the last class I would know of players on the team. But even though then, Abdullah was probably able to connect with them more than I could have been. But I've been keeping tabs online and everything looks on the up and up, and everything looks great. And I love it. This program just needs to continue rising and, solidify ourselves in this league. I actually seen something the other day where it's just like a retweet on, I guess, was it the Lehigh Lafayette rival, I guess, we need to establish a rival school in the league as well to have like that big game with the big trophy at the end, stuff like that. I'm sure if it was one, I really don't remember. But, I feel like the program is definitely in the up direction. And I like the competition that's starting to be added to the schedule, like that Temple game. I was glued to the TV when y'all guys played Temple last year. And, many more games, I try to catch as much as I could, to see how everything's going. And everything looks great to me.
Yeah, that's great. We got Army's our next game, so we're planning and hoping that we get that chance. But it's a Friday night kick, and hopefully we'll be there, Mikey Stadium, coming up in September. So, Peach, how about you?
Yeah, that's cool, the Army stuff too, because that was my first game freshman year. So that'll be a cool way to like kind of see everything and how it's shifted. But I think obviously the program's in a really good state right now, really good. So those two guys kind of hit the nail on the head too. Just big culture shift with everybody buying in. That's been the biggest thing too. So, I think it's cool too because I saw like everything that they were trying to do for the younger guys and trying to bring them along and trying to change their viewpoints on things, trying to make them buy in more. And I think it really affected me, and then hopefully it affected the younger guys. But I see a lot of younger guys just completely bought in now, like freshmen coming in every day, like doing extra stuff. It's really good to see, and that's how you really just make a program better in the long run. And I think it's really, really been increasing there. I love Coach Colvis, as I already said. He's been doing unreal just in terms of nutrition and strength and conditioning. So the guys are really starting to love doing that too, which is awesome. That's just, if you can get bigger, stronger, faster, then you're going to be that much better of a football player. So, I have confidence in the team. I'm really close to a lot of them. So I'm really excited to see how it goes, but it's definitely going in the right direction.
Yeah, a football team as a group is really no different than when you guys were talking about your prep that you guys had for the draft and for free agency. You don't have shortcuts. There's no easy way to get it done. You got to put in the work. You got to grind every single day. It's got to be passionate. And the more players we have on our team that can echo the examples that you guys have shown, the better shape the program's going to be in, and the more the championship trophies are going to start piling up. So, all right, final question on the day, and Pete, you'll go first for this one. So, what advice, as a former player, what advice would you give to the current head coach of the program about Bucknell, the university, the football program, winning a championship, whatever? I need some wisdom. Pass it on to me. Pete, you go first.
I think that a really big thing for me is just having a relationship with the players on the team. And I think you're doing a really good job of that too, because that was something new that I saw where you guys had like the leadership council and things like that, where people could really like speak your mind to you. And I feel like there was a lot more like trust within the guys. And then like if somebody said something, it would go right up to you, then you'd take it really into account, which was great. But I think, being in a good relationship with the kids, with the guys on the team, having them understand that you have their back at all times. When they trust you and when they're playing for somebody that they love, it's just going to make it that much more passionate. When you play with passion, that's all you can ask for too. So for me, I think that's the biggest thing.
Great. Okay, Julian, how about you?
I would say, and I also don't know too much of the logistics on this and what the state of this is currently in the program, but I'm just talking back from my years. I just wish it was somehow easier for the whole team to be able to gather and work out in the summer, and like easier, more affordable, across the line. Because I would say that's a big thing we had in the summer out for every summer for my years playing for Bucknell. I was up there working out pretty much the entire summer. And a lot of guys, just wasn't able to do it from, one being where they're from, maybe just can't get there, to being able to find somewhere to stay, and, and 3, then they have to take care of their own food and stuff. It was a lot of hardships that had to be dealt with in order to get players up there in the summer. And, we was encouraged, especially me as a captain, to, trying to get as many players as I could up there in the early months of June. When we would see the lowest numbers, we get a little bit more in July. But, it was just hard. So if anything, I'll say you get that. I mean, that's only going to help build team chemistry. It's only going to help the team get better because, everybody's there together. So everybody's holding each other more accountable. Can't nobody, if you by yourself, there's people who, take days off. They be like, I get it tomorrow, I get it later. Nah, everybody's doing the same thing and everybody's around each other. So you can't really be that odd man out when everybody else is grinding, and it just pushes you even more to do more. So I just wish that was a little easier. And I don't know, like I said, the logistics on all that. But, hopefully it can just be helpful and get done.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it is a challenge, and it's also a challenge that, again, when the coronavirus threw everything a curveball, and just the situation that we're in now, and having guys missing spring ball, it's all the more important and critical that we find a way to bond as a team and push each other. And we'll see what happens here. We should know hopefully in another week or so about what our paths moving forward as the picture becomes a little bit clear about when we can report as a team and go from there. So we've got a lot of challenges left ahead of us. Fortunately, it's nothing that all of the teams that are on our schedule aren't dealing with the same exact problems. Everybody's in the same boat. So the team that does and is able to overcome the hurdles the quickest and the fastest are going to be the ones that win football games. All right, Abdullah, bring us on home here.
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback on Julian just for a second, because I remember my freshman year when I came in, and it had to be the best record. You can mistake me if I'm wrong, Julian. The best record we had my 4 years, and I remember that July period, there was a whole bunch of dudes in that Sid Kai house making friendship, making bonds, showing each other that we're here to work and we're here to do nothing but win. That was very important to me and going into my freshman year. And then another thing, probably an advice to you, is just bringing guys in that love to play the game. A lot of times throughout my career, I've seen guys come in and they kind of love the game, they kind of love the grind, but they're not in love with it. And that's one thing that I'm fortunate enough to have. Julian, Peach, these guys love the game, and I think that's why we have been able to get as close as the highest level as possible in this game. So that's the only advice I can give you, is make sure you bring in guys that love the game, love Bucknell, and want to play for that orange and blue. You know what I'm saying?
Amen. Outstanding. That's great stuff. Really appreciate you guys giving the advice and spending your time with us here over the past hour or so. And with that, I'm going to kick it back on over to Todd Newcomb.
Thanks, Coach. And guys, I want to echo Coach's sentiments and thank you all for taking the time out. I know you guys are busy training and preparing for what's ahead. And Julian and Abdullah, wish you guys both the best of luck with your season. Peach, I know you're going to wind up somewhere great and you're going to do great things. You've done that since the moment you stepped on campus here. And I appreciate the support that all three of you show to the Bucknell football program. And I hope you're so busy in the fall that you don't have a chance to come to one of our games. But if you do, you can catch us on TV sometime or on the computer. And we're looking forward, as Coach said, to getting our guys back on campus and hopefully having a great season of Bucknell football. To those of you watching at home, thanks for tuning in today. And everybody stay healthy and go Bison.